Well, the governing African National is recommending that power utility Eskom delays the decommissioning of its aged coal-fired power stations to help minimize rolling blackouts. That's according to the Electricity Minister, Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, speaking on the sidelines of the ANC's National Executive Committee meeting in Boksburg. The minister says, however, that this does not mean the country would abandon its climate commitments under the Just Energy Transition Partnership Plan. Dr. Ramokgopa says the ANC acknowledged that South Africa was facing an energy crisis. To take this discussion forward now and looking at coal-fired power stations as source of energy generation, we're now joined via Zoom by Director of South African Energy Forum, Mr. Zak Madela. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Perhaps before we talk about, just the decommissioning of aging coal-fired power stations and the halting thereof, perhaps just talk to us about this plan that the minister has introduced, the energy plan. It's an 18-month plan to prevent a total economic collapse. And he's also introduced, 12,000 megawatts of additional capacity. How confident are you that this plan will work?
Good afternoon to you and your listeners. I'm going to have to rely on you on what was said because I was quite busy during the day. I'm not sure what entails the 12,000 megawatt that he's talking about. What I do know that the Minister of Electricity is on the right track to say that he needs to delay the closure of the coal power stations because that's what we need. And in whatever is in his plan for new additional capacity, I would hope that there is baseload generation plan, the power plants there. Basically, your typical baseload is more additional coal, gas, which we don't have, or nuclear. So, yeah, my take is that the minister is really on the right track to say, let's delay the closure of the power stations. Perhaps you can tell me, because I haven't been reading what was communicated today, and I've just been running around. Yeah.
No problem. One of the key issues here is, of course, that this plan is going to be an 18-month plan, and what we had originally been told is that we could see the back of load shedding by 2023. Of course, that will not happen, so says the minister. But perhaps let's talk now about the conversation of today. Could delaying phasing out these stations, as the minister said, be instrumental in the current issues that we are seeing now in as far as load shedding is concerned? As the ANC suggested in its briefing today, just until there is a definitive resolution to the problems, how will this help in terms of the crisis we are in?
It is something that we need. If we don't prematurely close our coal power stations, then we will come out of load shedding, because at the heart of all of this is the neglect of the coal power stations, because first of all is not having enough capital to address the issues of operation maintenance, but it's also this agreement that they have that in order for them to, as a country now, in order for us as a country to invest in new generation, money is going to come from somewhere for new generation, because the government apparently doesn't have the money. And those who make that money available, they're quite clear. You're going to have to invest in the so-called clean technologies, which is mainly renewables. And we do need the renewables, but we don't need them at the expense of having to shut down the stable coal power generation plants. The problem with that money is it comes with the condition that first close down what works, because it seems to be giving you problems because you don't have the capital to address those. And it's on the back of this scaremongering technique that we need to reduce the emissions. We're not the only country in the world that is emitting. Why don't you start with the biggest emitters and then come to us? So to answer your question, it goes without even saying that we don't need to be closing down our coal power station. In fact,
Unfortunately, we had to stop that interview due to that poor connection.